Leo. Hello, everyone. Hello. Why is my OBS so small? What the heck is happening? Leoha, hello. I'm gonna put on my glasses. I feel like today's a kind of glasses kind of day. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, chat? It's just one of those days where I feel like I need glasses. I'm really tired. I'm really tired. I need glasses kind of day. Do you guys have those kind of days where you just like feel like, you know, you're too tired for not glasses? Why do my glasses look a little funky? A little funky? Maybe if that's too big. Is that better? No, that looks worse. Give me a second. I just gotta like... Why does it feel like the pinning on VTube Studio got weird? Well, whatever. I think that's fine. Close enough. Today's one of those days where I just want to wear glasses and like chill. You know what I mean? Every day is glasses day, isn't it? Why does it also feel like... Why do I feel like my tracking is kind of weird? Anyway, not in a bad way, but in like a good weird. I don't know. Anyway, Leo, hello everyone. It has been a hot second, hasn't it? I've been gone for a week. Also, Gochi-chan, thank you so much for the 420 tip. With no message. Appreciate the 420. The stream elements, as you can see, is working again. Thank you for doing that, actually, because I did want to test the alerts, because apparently my alerts got, like, reset or something. I don't know why, but my alerts got reset, so it's a good thing you tested that. I was curious about that, and then I completely forgot about it, because it's that's just how it is sometimes when you don't do anything for a while. I was in New York, the land of piss and what else was in New York? Piss and pizza and bagels and subway rats and buildings and what else was in New York? Pigeons. Big ol' rats. I saw a subway rat. I saw one. We're the subway rats now. You guys are kind of ratty, aren't y'all? Land of piss and rats sounds like some kind of Homestuck planet. Does Homestuck have like a place that it's based off of? Crazy that you were in my city. Hope the stench of garbage wasn't too bad. Okay. Garbage stench, not so bad. Piss stench, pretty bad. Like, I was explaining to Rumi-chan about this, but like the thing about New York, right? About the piss smell in New York is that normally, you know, in Southern California, we also have places that smell like piss. For example, there's this one outdoor mall thing that I sometimes go to, and that stairwell in the outdoor mall for the parking structure always smells like piss. Like constantly. It's just like in a constant state of piss smell. But like, as you're going up these stairs, right, you can usually tell where the piss smell is coming from. Like, you can make an educated guess on where this mysterious pisser took the leak, right? But in New York, it's like everywhere you go just smells like piss. Like, as if there is no one pee spot in this room. It is just the entire room is made of piss. And I thought that was a very unique, interesting differentiation. I've been to, obviously, you know, a lot of big cities in my life, but I've never been somewhere where it just perpetually everywhere smelled like piss. There was this one point where my sister and I went to this mall. Oh shoot, I don't remember the mall. It's by the World Trade Center. It's a very nice mall. It's like a Westfield shopping center. And we went there to use the restroom. And I guess everybody else had the same idea. And the bathroom smelled disgusting. It smelled like piss. And we were like, okay, I mean, it's a bathroom, I guess. It does smell like piss. But the stall that I used was like, okay, it didn't smell as bad, but apparently my sister, the stall that she went into was like, she was saying that it didn't even smell like piss, it just smelled like straight up ammonia. Like, it was like unreal in there. Anyway, interesting weird facts. I guess you just like miss the toilet or something. I don't really know how that happens, but that it is what it is. Yeah, so I had a really good trip. So the first half of it was spent with Kokone and a couple of our friends who also came to New York. I think both of them, it was their first time in New York. So that was really cool. We got to explore. Kokone has obviously, I'm sure she's talked about it. She's been to New York a bunch. She's from the East Coast, so she kind of has like a better understanding of New York. I have been to New York a handful of times. So I have a couple far relatives, like distant relatives that live there, and then a couple closer relatives that live there now. My distant relatives lived there when I was growing up. So we visited quite a number of times back in when I was like really little. So back when I was like in elementary school. And then the last time that I went to New York, I believe was in 2007, I want to say. Maybe around like between 2007 and 2009. I don't know exactly when, but that was the last time I was in New York. And I don't remember shit about New York at all. I have very, very few memories about New York. I remember going to the Nintendo store, and that's kind of about it. I don't remember any of the food. I don't remember anything. So anyway, basically, as an adult, it was my first time in New York, and therefore, like, a lot of my memories and stuff, I just, like, it's as if I hadn't really been to New York before, even though I had been there multiple times before. For example, when I was in elementary school, apparently my parents took us to the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, and it was really, really fucking cold, and my mom was like, we are never doing that again. I don't remember that. I have no memories of that, but that was a thing. So yeah, what did we do in New York? What did we do? I'm trying to remember. It was, it's always cold. Okay, so weirdly, the first day we arrived in New York, all of us met up. I believe it was the four of us, like, hanging out. So it was like two of our friends. Also, Nova, hello, my wife. I'm talking about my New York trip. We met with some of our other friends who were also flying in. So we all ended up meeting at like a hotel. And I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah. It was fucking hot. The first day that I was there, it was so hot and humid like you would not believe. You would not believe. It was so hot and humid. Just like ridiculous, right? And then the next day, it rained and it was fucking freezing. It was just like the most ridiculous weather. So to talk about my trip, I flew, by myself. And when I flew on the plane, I woke up late. So I had set an alarm because my mom wasn't going to take me to the airport. So I had to drive to my parents' house and arrive there by 5:30. So I was supposed to leave the house at 5. I set my alarm for 4 in the morning, right? So I woke up at 4 in the morning. I set my alarm for 4 in the morning. And then I had like multiple alarms because I'm always afraid, right? So I had one for like 4, and then one for 4:10, and then like one for 3:50 or something like that. I slept through all my alarms. I don't know how that happened. It's very, 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 very rare that I sleep through an alarm. And when I sleep through an alarm, usually what happens is like I hear the alarm, I wake up, and then I just hit the like close alarm button, and then I go back to sleep. Also, hi Gunnar, thank you so much for 10 months of membership. I don't know why that didn't pop up. Why didn't that pop up? Fuck. I'm wondering if my Stream Elements link is not working. Give me a second. Nope. I do not know why it's not working. I apologize, but thank you so much. Super alerts are usually late. Yeah, well, this is like really late though. I don't know what's going on. Well, hopefully it'll figure itself out. But anyway, and I woke up at like 5:20, and then my mom obviously was like trying to call me, but my phone was on do not disturb mode. Anyway, fortunately I woke up on my own because I think I was having like anxiety about it. So I like woke up and I was like, oh shit, I'm late. And so I like ran out of the house with my luggage to my parents' house. My mom drove me and all that stuff. And then I got through the check-in and all that whatever. And I basically just barely made it onto my plane. Like, I got there, I was able to buy a bottle of water, use the restroom, and then they were boarding the last group of boarding. So I got on the plane just fine, but I hadn't eaten anything. And then it was, like I said, it was like the plane was leaving at like 7 in the morning, so it was really early. So I fell asleep, right? And then as we're flying, I wake up and I'm just kind of like, ooh, I don't feel so good. But I was thinking that it was maybe motion sickness or something. So I was like, okay, I don't feel really good, but like maybe it's motion sickness, whatever. But then all of a sudden I was like, oh no, like I know what this feeling is. I'm gonna faint. Like I'm gonna faint. And so I didn't know what to do. I was like sitting in my seat and I didn't want to like faint on a stranger. So I got up out of my seat and I went to the back of the plane and I went up to the stewardesses, the flight attendants, and I was like, I am so incredibly sorry, but I am about to faint. Like, can I just sit on the floor back here? Like where all the food and stuff is. And the ladies were like, oh yeah, of course. And one of the flight attendants gave me her seat and they were really, really sweet about it. It's been a while since you had one of those. Yeah, for context, if you guys are not familiar or you guys are new to the stream, or if you guys are semi-new, the whole apple juice lore goes back to this. The apple juice thing happened because my relative, who is a doctor, told me that I might have hypoglycemia, which means I have low blood sugar. So if my blood sugar drops to a certain point, I could potentially faint, which is why the apple juice thing came up in the first place. But anyway, I'm on the ground, or I'm sitting well, I wasn't sitting in the stewardess's seat. Yeah, I was sitting on the ground because I was like, I just need to sit on the ground. And they're like, oh yeah, go for it. So I'm sitting on the ground and the stewardess, she like comes up to me and she's like kind of sitting there with me and she was like, hey, like, are you okay? You know, like, do you have history of fainting? Like, what's going on? Do you have like a medical, whatever. And I was like, oh, I don't know because I'm like about to faint here. So my brain is definitely not there. And I was like, what did I tell her? I was like, yeah, I faint pretty often. It's not anything crazy. It's fine. Don't worry about me too much. But I don't know why it happens is what I told her. And the other flight attendant was incredibly sweet. She was like, hey, do you want some like, maybe we'll get you some cranberry juice. You want some juice? Because I feel like we should, you know, sometimes when my blood sugar gets low, I get like that too. And I was like, oh yeah, low blood sugar. Yes, that is it. Hypoglycemia. I was like, yes, please, if I could have some juice. So she got me some juice and they got me some food that you normally have to pay for, but they just gave it to me. It was very sweet of them. And I did not faint. Yay, I made it through the plane and I was fine. Goshen, thank you for the super chat. How can Lyra have low blood sugar if she's so sweet? Maybe Lyra is made out of artificial sweeteners. That would explain it. Thank you so much. Am I? I feel like I am like the opposite of sweet. First, they're sweet. Oh no. First, they're sour. And then they're sweet. My brain is just like so, like the capitalism brain is real, like just infomercials. My brain is just filled with commercials. I have nothing in there except commercials and infomercials. Why is my alerts not working? IRL Rune, thank you so much for 14 months of membership. Really appreciate it. Yeah, so then I survived the flight. Then I get on a taxi. This is another lovely story. I get on a taxi. I have, like I said, not been to New York. I'm on this taxi and I guess so I took JFK. Also, Rita, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, Raiders. Welcome. Really appreciate it. Everyone, please be sure to welcome the Raiders and also go check out Rita if you haven't already. She's a really awesome streamer from the former Prism project. So as you guys know, good friends of the channel here as well. So be sure to give them a big old welcome, and thank you so much, Rita. Really, really appreciate it. Rita has like an amazing voice. She has one of those voices where like when you listen to it, you're like, oh my god, she has like the perfect like announcer voice, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. Like, she was made to like be a weather reporter or something. Just like that beautiful, like clear, very nice voice. So definitely go check out Rita. Thank you again for the raid. Welcome, raiders. I hope you guys had a good stream today. But anyway, we're talking about my New York trip today. I just got back. I flew in this morning actually. But I'm on this cab, right? Because my mom was telling me that the last time she took an Uber from JFK into Manhattan, the Uber upcharged her, and then she had to like call the Uber, like whatever they quoted her, it was like way more expensive ultimately than what they had quoted her. So I was like, she was like, don't take the Uber. The taxis have a flat rate, the yellow cabs. So just take a yellow cab and go into town using the flat rate yellow cab. And I was like, okay, sure. And again, this cabin's like flat rate, $75. I was like, okay, great. $75 doesn't seem too crazy. And then you just add a little bit of tip on top of that. Like, no big deal. I get in the cab and it is not $75. Well, it is $75, but then they have like a toll fee. And then they also have like some other fees. And then it came out to like $90 ultimately. Arif, thank you so much for 7 months of membership. Welcome back, my Oshi. Your voice sounds different. My voice is still not back. Crazy, right? Crazy. It's been gone. Where the fuck is my voice? I don't know. It's been like a month. My voice is still fucking shot. I don't know why. Doom King, thank you so much for 3 months of membership as well. Thank you, thank you. A lot of hitting fins, but $90 not too bad. It's like, what's the point of calling it a flat rate if it's not a flat rate, right? Like what? I don't understand. But again, $90, sure, whatever, fine. $90 like could be worse. We get there, or I get there, and then I'm like, okay, it came out to $90, so I'm gonna give him like a $10 tip because already I was not expecting it to be $90. It was supposed to be like a flat rate of 75. Not like $10 is like over 10% tip. It seems like, I don't know. I don't ride cabs. I don't know how much you're supposed to tip a cab. Seems like a normal amount, especially if the flat rate was 75. So I pay the guy $100 and I use my credit card. And thank God I do, because then the guy starts getting very, very, very angry at me. And he tells me that minimum is 35% tip. And I'm like, there is no world in which a minimum tip is 35%. First of all, a tip is based on, like, first of all, I was fighting my fucking life to not throw up in your fucking cab because you were awful at driving. Second of all, like, you didn't even take me right in front of my hotel, right? And then, like, I was like, 35 is insane. Yeah, I don't live in New York, but I'm not a fucking idiot. And he was like, oh, there was traffic. And then, like, you know, gas is expensive. I was like, yeah, buddy, that's not my fault. Like, do you think I brought the traffic? You know, like, no, I did not. Luckily, I had already scanned my credit card and I already pressed, like, okay and whatever. So it was, like, all done. And so I like asked him for a fucking receipt in case he tried to like scam me extra. But like the guy just kept like muttering under his breath, like, oh, blah, 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 you know, like, oh, it's supposed to be 35%. I did this, and then I drove extra fast to get you here. And then you would have taken normally 2 hours, but I got you here. And I was like, bro, like, no. And obviously, so I got out of the fucking car and I was like, bye. Gravy is like, congratulations on 1 year of membership. Congratulations on your sword by the power of Grayskull. Oh wait, it's just the sword of the Valkyrie. Welcome back. Thank you. I think we had the same cab driver. That guy he was also just like the entire time, you know, like I said, when I arrived anyway, it was really, really fucking hot, okay? And the cab had no AC. The AC was broken in the cab. So like I didn't have a comfortable ride. He drives like fucking ass. I'm almost like, I'm fighting for my goddamn life not to throw up in this cab. He should be grateful I didn't throw up in his goddamn taxi either. And then he has the gall to tell me to tip him 35% because of traffic, which I have no fucking control over. No, I don't fucking think so. King Grab, thank you so much for 20 months of membership. I paid $200 when I first took Yellow Cab from JFK to New Jersey, including tip. I thought I should have taken Uber, but maybe not. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't take enough cabs to, I don't really know what a normal thing is. You should have threw up after he said 35%. Like, actually though. But, yeah, anyway, that was my first step into New York. It was a very welcome to New York moment. And then I run into Kokone and she's like eating an ice cream. I was like on my way to the hotel. She's like, oh, Yara. And I was like, Kokone. I was fighting for my life. And she was like, she has like ice cream in her hand. I was fighting for my life in there, and I had extreme anxiety because the guy was yelling at me, and I was doing my best to be really cool, to like not bend to his demands, because okay, ultimately, even though I act like I'm very tough, I also am very I have a very hard time saying no. Shadow Boy, thank you so much for 18 months of membership. Oh, my travel horror stories before I travel. No. This, okay, I will say, because my roomie channel also said the same thing. She was like, oh my god, your trip sounded horrible. I was like, no, it was bookended horribly, but the middle part was good. Like, everything else about the actual trip was good. Getting to and from New York was just, that was the horrible part. Anyway, yeah, that whole thing was pretty awful. And then we like checked into the hotel. The hotel was really nice, which was really surprising because it was a couple of us were staying at the hotel, and I tried to book a kind of cheaper hotel in that area, like a nice but cheap hotel. So that was like one of the cheapest ones I could find in that area. That wasn't like a straight up inn or motel. It was one of the nicest hotels I've ever stayed at, period, actually. So like props to the fucking hotel. It was amazing. And then on the first night we went to go watch the Gundam Seed movie. I have pictures. Well, these are mostly pictures you guys have seen. Oh, okay, wait. First of all, Kokone brought me cookies. She brought me maple cookies from Maple Land, from Goddess Land. I mean, not Maple Land, Goddess Land, aka Maple Land. And she also got me some ice wine and also like a tin can of maple syrup, which I've never seen before. But the maple cookies were really, really good, actually. It was really, really good. The most Canadian cookies I've ever seen in my life. I think that's why she picked these. But it was really good. And the tin can maple syrup, I have yet to try it, but it is very interesting. I've never seen maple syrup in that. And ice wine I'm excited to try. Yeah. So that was that. And then we got to go watch. I was like, okay, I don't know, like, if you would be, I was like, Kone, I don't know if you'd be interested, but would you want to go watch the Seed Freedom movie with me? And she was like, I don't know anything about Seed. Is that okay? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I said, this is this is all you need to know. I said, Kira and Lacus, which apparently her name is Lacus. I didn't know that. It sounds really silly when you say Lacus, but anyway, Kira and Lacus are a couple. And there's politics and war. I was like, that's all I remember about Seed. And she was like, okay. And then we watched it, and then she was like, oh, it literally, that's all I needed to know. She was like, oh, literally, that's all I needed to know. Also, welcome back, Nova. How rare is maple syrup outside Canada? No. Maple syrup outside Canada is obviously normal, but I've never seen it in a tin can before. It was my first time. Yes, okay. So the way that the Gundam Seed Freedom movie worked is that it was only 2 days of showing. The first day was Japanese. with English subtitles. The second day, which is the day that I landed in New York, was English dub only. So we watched it in English dub. We had no choice. That's the only option we had, and that's the only day left that they had for us to watch it. So I watched it in English, and her name is Lacus, apparently. I don't fucking know. That's what they kept calling her in the movie. And I was like, I didn't know her name was Lacus. I thought it was Lacus Klein, not Lacus Klein. It just sounds so weird saying Lacus. No, not the Lacus. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Why did you watch? Like I said, I didn't have a choice. That was the only way we could watch it. But honestly, in the dub, I'm actually glad we watched the dub. The dub was fucking hilarious. Honestly, like, it was really funny. And I think it added to it because it was straight up just like, from beginning to end, just nonstop laughter. This movie, I don't think it intended to be a comedy, but it was straight up like a comedy movie. We had the time of our fucking lives, is all I'll say. I don't want to spoil it if people do want to watch it, but basically it was just a lot of NTR. It was like NTR the movie. Watching Kira get punched was hilarious. And if you watched Kokone's recap stream, she talked about it a little bit, but basically it's like Kira being like he's doing the whole Amuro and Shinji thing where he's like, oh, like I killed people and the blood is on my hands and no one will love me anymore and the world rests on my fucking shoulders. And then Asuran comes in and he's like, shut the fuck up, Kira, and he like punches him in the face. And then the entire theater just roaring applause, standing ovation, and they're just like, yeah, get him. It was like hilarious. That experience alone made the movie that much more like fun because it was like everyone in the theater was like in that moment, you know? And it was just like a very funny, the entire theater. Yeah, I mean, there weren't that many of us in there. It was very like maybe 20 people max in there. If you watched this in dub in New York, hello, I'm sorry if you heard me like giggling a lot of the time. You probably heard, but it was pretty funny. Lots of NTR and lots of Lacus, apparently, quote unquote Lacus fan service. Was a good movie. I had a really good time. I was honestly like worried about the movie because I was like, oh, like what if it's not good, or what if it's like I'm dragging Kokone to this like weird movie. But I fucking loved it. It was so fun. And it was so weird. On our way to the theater, there was like these signs for like 4DX experience, and I was like, oh wow. And I pointed out to Kokone, I was like, oh look, they have a 4DX experience, and we both were like, yeah, well, good thing ours isn't that because we'd probably get motion sick. But the thing is, I don't know if ours was. So first of all, the tickets were $25, which is very expensive. I know movie theater ticket costs have gone up, but 25 is kind of steep, right, for like a movie. But it did feel very IMAX-y, so I'm assuming it's like an IMAX theater, right? So like we get in, it's like it feels like an IMAX theater, and then at certain points of the movie, the seats would vibrate, and I wasn't sure. Okay, so at first I was like, oh, it must be like maybe the rumblings of like the sound. And then the second time it happened, I was like, wait, I don't think that was a sound. I think maybe it's like someone else is doing the 4DX experience and we're like feeling the leftovers of that. But it wasn't. Then it was like weird. And I was like, and then after some point I was like, is this part of the movie experience? Is it supposed to be rumbling? And then I was like, is it an earthquake? Like, what's going on? Because at first I thought it was intentional, right? It would happen when there was like Gunpla fight scenes, like Gundam Gundams are fighting and the seats are vibrating. So I'm like, oh, it's supposed to be like the rumble of the ground. But then there was like a scene where they were just arguing and then the seats would start rumbling. And I was like, okay, wait, I don't even fucking know anymore. I have no idea why the seats are rumbling. It was very weird. But it was, it made me slightly motion sick, but overall it was still, really fun and it was good. Wasn't your subway? It was, we went to a theater that was like in Times Square. And it was like pretty, I think it was like on the 3rd floor or something. So I don't know. At first I was like, maybe it's this or that, but eventually I was like, I think it's supposed to be like a 4D experience thing, but it was just like weird timing sometimes. I don't really know. Rihanna, thank you for the super chat. Hello, my lady. How are you doing? I'm doing just fine. Thank you for asking. Thanks so much for the super chat. Appreciate it. Yeah, and then I actually bought Gunpla in New York. I actually got Gunpla in New York. So I did get I had to get it because I haven't seen it where I am at. I got the Master Grade SD Freedom Kit. I know, I'm so hyped. So hyped to build it. It's so yeah, the Master Grade SD kits. It's so cute. And I also got a SSS Gridman Akane kit, which is like my first like Bishoujo kit, I guess. So I'm excited to build that, but I'm a little worried because it was kind of fucking expensive. It was kind of fucking expensive, and my expectations for Bishoujo kits are like really low. So I'm like, I paid like $60. I hope it's good. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm excited to build both of those. We'll build them on stream eventually. Maybe starting when I get back from my next mini break. I know I'm like so out of town all the time. It's been, trust me, it's more exhausting for me than it is for you. I'm having a good time on these trips, of course, don't get me wrong, but I'm fucking tired. I'm just putting that out there. Okay, anyway, that was the movie. We had a good time. We also had some pizza that night, and it was a pretty, like, you know, we were pretty tired, so we retired pretty soon after that. Here's a photo of us at Times Square. Yeah, just two gals in Times Square. It's very difficult to take these pictures because it's one of those things where like the standees will be in focus but the background will not, so sometimes it's kind of hard to tell what you're looking at. But anyway, that's in Times Square. It was very cool. And I don't remember, I'm not gonna recall everything in the correct order, but then we went to Central Park. And here's the Central Park photo. You can see all the people in the background posing for their pictures. And then there's us posing for our picture. Very nice, very nice. Central Park was great. It was really, we had a good time. And oh yeah, the PP flowers. If you haven't checked out Kokone's stream, you should check it out for the mention and photos of the PP flowers. Mimi, thank you so much for the tip. Hello again. Hello. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Anyway, there were these flowers, and Kokone was like, oh, look at these cute flowers. And her friend goes like, it looks like an ass shitting. And I was like, it looks like a pee-pee. And then that was, yeah. And then she was like, why do you guys gotta ruin everything? Central Park was really nice. We had a really good time. I really loved Central Park. I think it was probably one of my favorite things in New York. If I lived in New York, I just go to Central Park all the fucking time. Just like chill there, eat there, read a book there, whatever. Like it was just so much. It just was so nice. Central Park was so nice, so beautiful. The weather was, as you could see, a little gloomy, but we still had a really good time. Near Central Park, we also went to the museum. As you have seen this photo many a times. And I saw you guys. Look at you. It's a more of a brown version of you guys than the gray one, right? But You know, I imagine Palcrees have many assorted color variations as needed, right? You guys come in all shapes and sizes, I'm sure. But yeah, a shiny Palcree. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, it's a possum. I gotta take a picture. They had a bunch of taxidermies. They had like dinosaurs. I've been to the Natural History Museum before, but it was back many moons ago. So it was really nice being able to see all the different stuff and see all the different taxidermies and see all the dinosaur bones and stuff. So it was pretty cool. And we had a really good time just going around looking at different stuff. Oh, I don't have the photo here, but I also took a picture you may have seen of Tonya, the Smilodon. The Smilodon photo. So I took that photo as well. And yeah, we did the Natural History Museum. And then we also did the Brooklyn Bridge. Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah. We walked across the whole thing. So it took quite a while, but we walked across the entire bridge, and we also had like pastrami and stuff, and more bagels, and I don't remember what else we had, but it was really nice. We just did a lot of sightseeing and such because our friends also hadn't really been there before. So it was just like we just chilled. We didn't do anything too crazy, mostly sightseeing. I had Cat's Deli. It was very, very, very good. Best pastrami I've ever had in my life. And Brooklyn Bridge was really, really nice. It had a really wonderful view of New York and Brooklyn and all the different stuff. And I think that was my first time doing that. So very enjoyable. And luckily the weather was very good because, like I said, it was very overcast. So it wasn't hot. Important tidbit, it was not hot. So it was really nice because we could walk all these places without like getting too sweaty or anything, or like uncomfortably hot at any point. So yeah, that was very nice. We got to hang out and do that. We ate more pizza, I think. Ate lots of pizza. And then I don't remember, we went to like a wine bar, and I had a chocolate martini. It was really good. I've never had a chocolate martini before, except mine was really strong, but it was still good. And we had a charcuterie board as well. And that was really nice. We got to like hang out and just chat and have our martinis. Kokone got like some kind of lavender drink. Oh yeah, and then the next morning we had lavender coffee, which was really interesting too. Like a lavender latte. Or something. Yeah, we just ate, did a lot of sightseeing, just walked around, hung out, and oh my goodness, Kokone and I played a lot of card games. We played Vanguard, and I taught her Grand Archive because she was interested in Grand Archive. So we played a bit of Vanguard and we played a bit of Grand Archive. I think she likes Grand Archive more, and understandably, I do think there is like a bit, depending on what kind of like game, what kind of gamer you are, for lack of a better word. I think for her, Grand Archive was more fun because it has a little bit more like, you have more control, right, of what you can do, and you have a little bit more creative freedom of how you approach the outcome, which is winning the game, right? It's like very Grand Archive is a little bit more like, I don't know how to talk about this without putting down Vanguard. And you guys know Vanguard is my favorite card game, so I really don't want to make it sound like I'm putting down Vanguard, but I do think Vanguard is a little bit more like, here is your deck, here is a deck list, this is the most optimal deck list you will ever have for this particular deck, and here is the way you have to play the deck. This is your combo, and there isn't a lot of variance within that combo, right? It's like, you learn your combos, and you have to like follow those combos, and there is one actual correct deck list. Does that make sense? And there is a heavy reliance on things like triggers, which I think is what makes the game exciting. But I know for a lot of people, triggers is what makes the game frustrating. So I think, like, I understand the opposite perspective. And I think, like, for me, Vanguard is fun because I don't have to think that hard. It's like, okay, well, this is what I can do and that's what I do. And then the triggers make it exciting and fun, and it feels like gambling and gotcha. And I know it sounds like I'm putting down Vanguard, but I mean this in like the most like I love this game way possible. Whereas Grand Archive is a lot more like, okay, how are we gonna get, like, this is my hand. How can I optimally play this hand to try to get towards the end goal, which is winning, and prevent my opponent from winning and stuff like that. And it becomes a little bit more strategic and a little bit more like solving a puzzle, if that makes sense, which is Kokone's jam, right? She loves solving puzzles. So for her, I think Grand Archive suited her taste a lot more because she felt like she had more control over what was happening in the game and how the game flow was going. Like, she had more input and more say. Western TCG versus Eastern TCG, yeah, basically. And then I taught one of our other friends Grand Archive as well. And oh my god, so I brought, wait, give me a second. I just need to double check something. I don't know if it's okay for me to mention this, so I'm gonna check something really quick. Where is Kokone? Yeah, I'm getting the Coco approval. I'm waiting for her to respond. But does Grand Archive have PC game? No. I think you can play on Tabletop Simulator though. Pretty sure. I haven't done it myself, but I'm pretty sure you could do that. I don't think they even have an unofficial sim. You guys remember what decks you were using? So for Vanguard, Kokone was practicing her, not Herminia, Feltyrosa. She was practicing her Feltyrosa deck. Oh, she's still streaming? Oh, oop. Wait, can I go into her stream? Okay, wait, give me a second. I'm gonna go into her stream. Check Discord real quick, please. I am also streaming. Hey. What is she saying? I can't hear what she's saying. I muted her so you guys can't hear her either. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. She said okay. Sorry. Okay. She said okay. I got the Kokone approval here. Okay. So basically, I wasn't sure if she was like okay for me to say this, but anyway, Kokone can't buy Grand Archive because I guess it's like really hard to get in her area. So in Goddess Land, I guess they just don't have Grand Archive. I mean, as I think some of you guys just mentioned, that it's pretty hard to obtain wherever you are as well. So I bought some of the stuff that she wanted for her, which was a couple starter decks. So she wanted to try out a couple starter. I think she wanted Diana, Arisana, Lorraine? Question mark? I don't remember. But she wanted some starter decks, so I picked up some starter decks for her and I brought them for her. And like I was like, oh, you should crack them open and we should try to like, you know, play some starter deck games, right? And she was like, oh, okay. And so we're like cracking them open, and of course, the fucking goddess of luck herself fucking pulls the CSR Arisana. I was literally like, oh my, I've never pulled a CSR in my life. I've never pulled a CSR in my life. She pulled a CSR Arisana, so she was like, oh, I guess I'm playing this game now. The goddess of luck, never beating the allegations for sure, as expected. Sasuga Kokone. Kinko, thank you so much for becoming a member. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, so the luck goddess is real. It's actually real. So yeah, anyway, that was you know, that was a thing that happened. And she had brought some extra. Actually, she brought some sleeves, and I actually bought her some sleeves. So I think she showed you guys either by drawing it, or she might have shown you a photo of the squishmallow that I got her. There's a story for that too, actually. So I was in Japan, and I'm at Toys R Us in Japan. She showed the photo. Yeah. So I'm at Toys R Us in Japan, and I'm like at the Squishmallow section as I do, because I'm just curious about like what Squishmallows are out. Like I don't collect them much, but I just like looking at them. And so I was like looking at them, and I was like, wait a minute, I see a fucking Mimir. There's a fucking Mimir Squishmallow. Yeah, Japan still has Toys R Us's. They're everywhere in Japan. But yeah, I get them. I was like, oh man, I don't know how I'm gonna fit this in my luggage. Like, it's like a regular size Squishmallow, so it's pretty big. And I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna fit this, but I will do my best. Nova, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. We're getting all the raids today. I'm gonna... Let me double check something real quick. But thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys had a good stream. What were you guys up to? I guess I should have done this earlier too, but I kind of completely forgot. By the way, if you guys are not familiar with Nova, she is from Production Kawaii's newest generation. So be sure to go check her out and check out her channel. Give her lots of love. As you guys know, Lua and she are also from Kawaii, and they're very good friends of the channel, so be sure to go give her some love. If you guys are new here, Leoha, my name is Leo Valkyria from VNU's first generation Symphoria. I have been changing my intro like every single time that I've introduced myself, so let's see. How do I introduce? I just got back from New York, and I am very say so. Yeah. So that being said, if you are under 18, I would like to politely ask you to leave. We are an 18 plus channel, and I do say some silly things, so apologies in advance. Also, Nova, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I hope you had a good stream. And I have given you a wrench, so you have power now. Anyway. Anyway. What was I saying? I don't remember. My brain. What was I talking about? I'm too old. I can't. Oh my god, you know, today I actually got like a fucking ad on Twitter that was like 40 years old? No problem. I'm like, I'm not fucking 40 years old! What? Oh yeah, the Mimir Squishmallow. Yeah, I was like, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get this in my fucking luggage. There's just no fucking way that I'm gonna get this in my luggage, so I had to buy a whole ass another large bag to fit the Mimir plush. So, and then when I was going to New York, I was like, I can't fit the Mimir, so I had to also bring another extra bag just for Mimir. I told Kokone, I was like, hey, I got you something, and it's kind of big, and I've had to bring extra luggage just for this specific thing, so I just want you to know, I'm warning you right now, that you should also bring extra luggage so you can carry this fucking thing back home. I'm sorry. So, yeah, that's how I got the Mimir plushie to her. What about vacuum seal bags? I don't have a vacuum. I've seen the ones where you can like push out air, but every time I've bought those, they haven't been very good. I don't know if there's like another vacuum seal bag that you can get that doesn't require a vacuum nowadays. That's better technology. I haven't bought one of those in a really long time, so. But then I also went to a like a TCG shop that had a bunch of sleeves, and they had these particular sleeves that were like art sleeves. And so I was looking at those, and then how do you not have no, I have a vacuum at home, but usually when I'm traveling, I don't have a vacuum. You know what I mean? Welcome back. Thank you. The 100 yen ones are fine, and you could roll out the arrow. You could do it at round 1. Really? You can do it at round 1? Really? They'll vacuum seal it for you? That's so funny. I had no idea. Life hack. But, yeah, they had a Mimir sleeve. I don't know if she showed that in her, like, item, like her gifts reveal or whatever, but I found these tapir sleeves, and it was like these art sleeves, and it was done by, I think, like local artists or whatever, so I had to buy those for her. They were very cute and way too perfect. So yeah, I got her some stuff in Japan, and that, I don't know where I was going with that, but anyway, that was all the Mimir stuff that I got. And then I had a bunch of family stuff, which was fun, but also extremely tiring. I mean, there were parts of it that were not fun, but most of it was fun. There was like parts of it where it was like with super extended family and people, like family friends that I haven't met. Oh my god, there was this family friend that I've never met before. It's like a family friend's new wife, so I had never met her before. And chat, I want you guys to know that she was like, oh my god, you are so like beautiful, and you look so young. I thought you were 20. I was like, oh my gosh, she thought I was 20. Best compliment of my life. I still got it. She thought I was 20. But I wasn't sure if she was like just, you know, just doing that to like be nice. But I was straight up like, ma'am, I am definitely not 20. Far from it, actually. Far from it. And then I told her my real age, and she was like, oh my god, I had no idea. And I was like, oh, yep. I sure am old. I sure am old. So that was pretty funny. That's my little tidbit that I could brag about. Is, yeah, someone thought I was 20. And then, is she in a hostage situation? Shut the fuck up, Chad. She meant it from the bottom of her kokoro, okay? I just give off that much of a youthful vibe, okay? Don't be jealous. You don't have to be jealous, chat, okay? Just because you don't get carded anymore when you buy drinks. When we got martinis though at the wine bar, they did not card us. Maybe it's because it's a wine bar and they expect everyone there to be of age, but we didn't get carded. That's my cope, is that, you know, they're just expecting everyone who enters to be of age. But yeah. What was she selling it? I'm not selling anything. Oh my god. Those hips cracked cued her to call. Oh my. The Palkery propaganda in here. But I did a bunch of family stuff. Yeah. Lots of, like, hanging out with my immediate family is obviously fine, and it's fun and it's a good time, but anytime it's with like extended family or like extended family, it's just like, you know, it can get a bit much. We had like a really big family gathering, and there were lots of days of festivities, and I was mostly not in Manhattan at this time. I was like in Queens, and yeah, Queens was cool. I had boba in Queens. I think we were in Flushing. I had boba in Flushing. It was really good. It was like a lychee slushy. It was very delicious. What else? I had Korean food in Flushing. Yeah, I don't really remember what else we did there. But then my family and I went back over to Manhattan, and we were hanging out in Manhattan for a bit. And then I saw this fucking ad. And it took me a second to understand. I was like, why? Why is this an advertise? Why is this a billboard? Why does this exist? The feet pics bag. And then it just has a bunch of stuff that you would need if you were wanting to take feet pics. Like a ring light and whipped cream and nail clippers and fucking nail polish. I was like, what is this? What is this advertisement? New York is fucking wild, man. Did you buy it? What the hell? No. Not the cream. At first, I was like, okay, feet pics bag. And I was like, wait, whipped cream. I was like, wait a minute, whipped cream. I was like, oh no, what is GoPuff? I think it's like a Instacart. They know their audience, my kind of bag. I was like, this is the most insane ad I've seen. Okay, I will say that ads in New York were so strange. All of the ads in New York were absolutely bizarre. There was this one where it was like a middle-aged man. He was like a law firm. It was like a billboard. And it was like a middle-aged man. And it goes, my hood is your hood. And I was like, huh? Huh? It gave very hello fellow kids vibe. He was wearing a suit in that photo on the bill. It was like such a hello fellow kids. I was like, how is this? Who allowed this billboard to exist? The ads in New York were insane. Very weird. Very weird ads. Many ads. I feel like Coconut and I pointed out like a bunch of ads like, what the hell is that ad? And then we'd be like, what the hell is that ad? It was just like so many like bizarro ads. New York does not feel real sometimes. It really had the vibe of like, wow, this is exactly how it is in the Marvel movie. And the number of times where I was like, oh, it's just like Into the Spider-Verse. Oh, it's just like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. Oh, it's just like the Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. Like the number of times that I like actually said that out loud. Like for example, we did see Subway Rats. We actually saw Subway Rats, and I was like, wow, that's really New York. Like I didn't think that I would actually get to see the rats in New York, but how big, I don't know, because it was kind of far away. It was in the tracks and it like ran across, so didn't really see how big it was. But and I think rats are cute. I like rats, so I'm not like ew rats. Like I'm very like, oh cute rats. And then I had that bit where like I was on the subway and I was just looking outside the window of the subway, and you would see the spaces in between the subway stations, and it felt like the Into the Spider-Verse scenes where like he gets bit by the spider in the very beginning, where like he does all the graffiti. It was just like a lot of graffiti and a lot of trash, just like a lot of trash just in between, like in these gaps in between the subway stations. So I was like, oh, people must be like just living here or something when the lights go off, you know. I once saw some super old dude wearing baggy yellow jacket, wearing a cap backwards. I'm not kidding. A blinged out Pennywise head around his neck. That's amazing. That's amazing. He reeked of pot. Okay, also, New York everywhere smelled like some type of cigarette. Marijuana, vapes, and just regular cigarettes. Like it just, everyone is smoking everywhere on the street. Just, I think one of the craziest things that I saw, and I was telling this to my roommate earlier, and I didn't even realize just how crazy it was until I said it out loud, and then she like looked at me like, what the fuck? And I was like, right? And then I realized like that was just crazy. Was I saw a woman and a man, like a couple, and the man had must have been like less than 5-year-old child in his one arm, and in the other hand he had a cigarette. And then the woman behind him, who was his wife, had a stroller in one hand with a child inside, and then a cigarette in the hand holding the stroller. And I was like, what in the actual, like, where the fuck am I? I just had like a moment of like, what is this place? Where am I? This is so like strange. It's like, just, is the baby okay? I don't know. That was like, just, I was like, that's crazy. Yep, that's New York. It really had, there were definitely vibes where I would just see something or things would happen and I'd be like, wow, that looks unreal. Like, I've just never seen something like that before. And obviously, like I said, like, I've been to New York before, but I was really little, so I don't think I really had like the same kind of worldview or like understanding that I do now, especially now that I've lived in so many places and like lived overseas and all that stuff. It was just like a very different experience. I mean, I loved it. I had a really good time. Really enjoyed it. Saw any subway performers? I saw a couple. I think I saw 2. And then I saw a lot of people selling things on the subway. So I saw like a guy carrying around like a boombox and he was like singing and he had like a QR code hanging around his neck and he was like, if you liked what you heard, take a picture of that QR code. You can donate. And stuff. Oh my gosh. And then in my second hotel, I also had this weird thing where like the fire alarm kept going off and the fire marshal had to keep like coming into the intercom and telling us that there was no that it was no cause of alarm and just like, please like stay, you know, where you are and, you know, don't worry about it. And it was like he just had to keep coming in and doing that and they just kept ringing the fire. It was, you know, I got the full experience. I feel like I got the whole ass New York experience this time around, with the taxi, with the fire alarm, with the performers, with, you know. Would you get back again? Yeah, of course. I had a really good time, like I said. I mean, there were definitely like ups and downs in the trip, like I mentioned too, but overall. Oh, and then did you see the portal thing? Oh yes, we did. So actually I was with Kokone, and it was funny because on that horrible taxi ride, because I hadn't heard about this portal before. I think it's just called the portal, and basically it's just like this big sculpture that has like a camera attached to it, and it has a video feed in the inside that's supposed to be a lifetime feed to Dublin, and you're supposed to kind of be able to like see a portal to Dublin or whatever through that. And I had no idea about this, but the reason why I knew about this was that horrible taxi that I rode on the way to the city had like New York latest news in New York, and that was one of the things that they kept talking about. And they shut it down, well, 4 days ago. When I saw it, it was still there. So I had only heard about it through the taxi, so I wouldn't have even known. And we passed by it and I was like, oh, that's the portal. And Kokone is like, what is that? And then so I explained it to her, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy that I just heard about it on the freaking taxi. And then we saw it. Like, we just randomly ran into it. We weren't even like trying to run into it. We just like randomly ran into it. So that was pretty cool. Did you have any New York pizza? We had like so much pizza. I think I had like 5 slices of pizza and like 5 bagels. The only thing is that with all the New York food, both the bagels and the pizza were incredibly delicious. Don't get me wrong, but everything in New York is very hard. Like, my jaw was just so tired. I like couldn't chew everything all the way through. So I like, a lot of times my jaw was so tired I couldn't continue to eat it, even though I wasn't like full enough to be done, but I was just like, my jaw can't handle this anymore. My weak jaw couldn't handle the New York pizza and bagels. So weak ass jaw, like literally. So yeah, the flimsy West Coast jaw. Yeah, apparently I need to have my food soft, apparently, I guess. But it was really good. A lot of the food was incredible. I also had Georgian cuisine for the first time because of a family friend, and that was amazing. That was like one of the best meals I had in a while. And I've never had Georgian food before, so that was really cool. Like Georgian, like the European country, or is it European? I don't know if it's European. Not the state, the country. Yeah. Have you tried Chicago pizza? No, I haven't had like real Chicago pizza. I've obviously had like places that sell Chicago pizza, but not like from Chicago. I feel like I've been to Chicago before too, which is weird that I wouldn't have had the pizza. But my parents used to like take us around the United States like a lot. We used to do these like road trips where we would go across like the entire US and stuff. So yeah, so I've been to a lot of places, but I have very, very minimal recollection of them because I was very young and I have a very hard time remembering things in general. So my parents are very well traveled. They really like to travel a lot. So I very fortunately have been able to travel around here and there a lot. So but yeah, I was gonna say something and I forgot. I think that's like kind of it for my trip mostly. Oh, and then, oh my gosh, we had kind of a crazy thing, two crazy things. So the first thing is that I came back to Southern California with my dad because my mom was staying a little bit longer with our other family members, but my dad and I came back today. And we had called so like we went with one of my aunts and she lives in New Jersey, and she was telling us like, oh, if you're gonna go to the, you know, don't get scammed by the Ubers and the taxis, you can like use a Korean call taxi and they're way cheaper. So like we called this Korean call taxi company, I guess, and it was a lot cheaper, but you know, we had made a reservation and we're like, oh, we're leaving at this and this time from this and this hotel. And they're like, oh, okay, that's fine. But then they called like the night before. And the guy was like, to my dad, or to my mom actually, in Korean, he was like, oh, by the way, like we can't, we don't have any other cars. So when we pick you up, it's gonna have to be, and he said, my mom was like, I can't tell if he said Benz or van. And she was like, it's a Benz or a van, but it's going to be $10 more. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Because they had quoted us $65, including tip. $65 including tip. And I was like, okay, $75 including tip is still way better than the fucking regular taxi that I had to deal with, you know? So I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I was like, I don't care if it's a Benz or a van, doesn't really matter. And then I was like, either way, like $10, like could be either, right? Could either be a Benz or it could be a van. And so like my dad and I are like waiting outside at like 3 a.m. of the hotel, and we're like, do you think it's gonna be a Benz or a van? And then it shows up. It was a Benz van. It was actually a Mercedes-Benz van. It was like a SUV. It was pretty funny. So it was both. And we had a pretty comfortable ride to the airport. It was a very comfortable ride. And but on the way there, we almost got into an accident. It was crazy. It wasn't the driver's fault. It was like the person who was driving in front of us fault, and we almost got into a really bad accident, but luckily we didn't. So we were like, okay, whew, glad that we escaped that. And then we got to the airport. We check in, we eat something. This time I'm like, I'm not gonna faint, so I'm gonna eat something. I eat something, and then we get on the plane, right? And then I knock out immediately because I've been up since 3 a.m. and I'm really good at sleeping on planes. So I fall asleep, and then I wake up around the time we're about to land. And my dad goes, oh, you missed the drama. And I was like, what drama? And he was like, yeah, there was this guy. And my dad was like, I'm pretty sure he was like mentally unwell. There was this guy that kept pacing on the plane. Like he kept pacing up and down the aisles, which, you know, technically he's not breaking a rule or anything. But the problem was he kept doing that. And then he would go into first class, which is like, you're not allowed to walk into first class unless you're in first class, right? So I guess the stewardess was trying to get him to like, you know, sit down, but he wouldn't because he was, you know, like I said, not mentally unwell. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And he was like, yeah, but it wasn't like anything crazy. That's just what happened. And I was like, oh, okay. And as soon as he says that, this guy gets up and my dad's like, oh, it's that guy. And we're landing. The plane is landing. And the guy is like walking, pacing up and down the aisle. So obviously the flight attendants are like, excuse me, sir, you have to sit down. Like we're currently like about to land. You need to sit down. It's like really not okay for you to be up. And he like freaks out. And at this point we've like landed, right? And he's like walking around and they're like, we're taxiing. We're still in the plane and the plane is still moving. And so they were like, you have to sit down. And he starts like screaming. He screams like profanities and then he screams in another language. I don't know what language it was, but he was like screaming. And so at this point, like everyone on the plane is kind of like, oh, you know, like what's going on? Kind of worried, like nervous, like everyone's like scanning the room. And he's just pacing. He's still going back and forth. And the stewardess is like, okay, I'm not going to deal with this because he's clearly angry and you don't want to like aggravate him, right? So she doesn't do anything. But then the like seatbelt sign goes off, right? And people start to get up because they want to get their bags from the overhead compartment and they're ready to deplane. But as they are starting to get up, he's still pacing. So he runs into somebody because they had gotten up. It was like a woman. She gets up and he like runs into her. And then never fly that line again. It was something else. He goes to her and then I couldn't tell because of the angle at which it was happening. I don't know what he did to her, but it looked like at the most innocent way, like he booped her nose. But I don't think that's what it was. It must have been more aggro than that. But from my angle, it looked like he just kind of flicked her nose like in a weird way. And then so obviously the entire plane is like, hey, like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, you know, and people are starting to get up and they're starting to try to like help protect this girl because this guy clearly did something weird to her. And a lot of the like other men around her, which I don't think they were even traveling with her, but they were like getting up and like, hey, like watch it, you know, like they were saying stuff like that to try to get him to stop. And then he starts like trying to throw hands. Like he just starts like flailing his fucking arms. And so they're like grabbing him. They're trying to stop him. And then his mother is like also trying to like grab him and stop him. And it's just like he's screaming. It's like the whole 9 yards, right? Everything is happening. The pilot goes on the intercom and is like, everyone please sit down, because people are saying like, get him off the plane, get him off the plane. Was this an old guy? No, he must have been like 20 something, like early 20s maybe. I have a hard time gauging people by age, but I'm assuming he's like early 20s. But like I said, he wasn't all there like mentally, right? So they were like, oh, everyone sit down, like we're gonna let him off the plane. So him and his mother like get off the plane, and it's this whole thing. And as we were leaving, all the flight attendants were apologizing, and it was pretty crazy. And they basically, it was really sad though, because as we were leaving, that main flight attendant who was kind of in charge of the back side of the plane, which is where I was in the economy section, she was the one who was kind of trying her best to like stop everything. When I was exiting the plane, she was like crying. I was like, oh no, she does not get paid enough to deal with shit like this. Like, that is crazy. But the thing is, like, I feel like because there was no altercation, and you know, technically, yeah, he like was standing when he wasn't supposed to, but he didn't like really break a law or anything. I feel like he probably won't be barred from flying or anything either. So like, I don't know, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, lots of drama. lots of crazy stuff happening on my flights and transportations back and forth from New York. It was a pretty wild time. Very eventful, yeah, to say the least. Guy was wandering around mumbling himself, leaving and entering the hotel. That shit was annoying enough when his was open. That's so scary. I feel like that's like really scary, especially when like you can tell when somebody's kind of off kilter, like mentally, and then you see them with a weapon and you're like, that's the scariest thing, right? Because they're already dangerous and scary even if they're not armed, and then as soon as they're armed you're like, oh god, like time to leave, time to not be in this vicinity, because that's like so scary. But anyway, yep, that was something else. I feel like a lot of flights that I'm on recently have weird slight altercations like that. Well, this one was pretty big. It wasn't like super big, but it was pretty big. But I feel like I've definitely seen my fair share of people being rude or having a spat with the people next to them. So I'm always nervous, especially when I fly alone, because I'm afraid that the person next to me will be crazy or do something. Oh, when I was flying back from Japan to the US, the lady next to me was super old looking. Like she must have been like she was so old looking. It was like one of those things where you look at her and you're like, how are you flying? You know, like that's how old she looked. She was sitting next to me, and it's been a very long time since I've seen anyone with a flip phone, but she had a flip phone. I've seen the smart flip phones in Korea, like those I've seen, but this was like just a regular flip phone, which I haven't seen in a really long time. But she was like, I can't get airplane mode to turn off, and she was like showing me, and it was one of those things where I was trying to help her, but it was very difficult because I'd be like, oh, I think you have to go into the settings, and she's like, well, I did that already. And I was like, yeah, why don't we try to do it again? And then she would like, I'd watch her press the button like next, but then she would skip over the setting button one extra because, you know, her hands are not very stable, because she looked really old is what I mean, like really old. And it was to the point where I couldn't tell if she was not pressing the buttons properly or if the phone was just that laggy. But she kept missing the button. She like could not hit the settings button, and I was like, do you mind if I take a look? Because this was like going on for like 10 minutes. And so I took the phone from her. Well, I didn't take it from her, but I asked her for the phone, and I got the phone. And then I went into settings. The buttons were broken. The phone wasn't laggy. She was just really old. And I turned off airplane mode for this very old woman. And I was like, oh my God, that was an experience, an actual experience. That was really interesting. That flight too, I was like in the middle seat, which was really unfortunate. But the guy I sat next to, he like got up like 50 times. I was like, man, why are you sitting in the window seat if you're gonna get up 50 times? So me and the woman had to get up every single time. Actually, I think that was a different flight. I think the old woman wasn't on that same flight. It was like a different guy. Anyway, lots of interesting experiences. Oh no, the old woman was on the flight to New York, because that was when I almost fainted, and she was really sweet about me getting up and leaving the area. But anyway, I think that's all the stories. Oh, someone asked me if I went to locals in New York. I did not. I considered it though, but I didn't really bring a lot of decks and stuff, and I didn't really want to go to locals by myself out there. But I did take Kokone to a card shop. So we did go to a card shop just to see what they had. We didn't really get anything. They mostly had magic stuff. It was mostly like magic and Pokemon. But even then, just mostly magic. And so there wasn't really much for us to buy or look at because I don't really know anything about magic. Did you see the new Night Rose and Hari Stride decks? I did. I know a lot of people are really excited because I know there's a lot of Night Rose simps out there. I don't know if I'll pick them up. I've like not been big fan of any of the Stride decks personally. I don't really like the Stride mechanic. Just myself. But I don't know. Everyone loves Night Rose, so I kind of want to pick it up just out of curiosity, maybe, is what I was thinking. But I don't know. We'll see. Also, my brain is starting to shut down. I feel like it's jet lag a little bit because I also went to bed pretty early while I was out there because I was with family and my parents go to bed early and they also wake up super freaking early. So I've been on like a weird sleep cycle. Chrono Jet Scarred Leo. Yeah, basically, although I will pick up a Stride deck set if they release a Bermuda Triangle one, especially if they release the Ange one. I want Ange so bad. Give me her. Bushiro, give me her. I'm surprised they haven't released a lyrical / Bermuda Stride deck. I thought Pacifica was gonna be a Stride deck, but she turned out to be like a normal one. Give me the mermaids, Bushiro. You know you want to. You know you want to. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of card game YouTubers, and it's been putting me on a card game kick again. And I want to play more TCGs. But actually, a good time to talk about a little bit. I will be gone again late next week for another week. I'm going to be out of town. And then I'll be back. And then in June, we will be doing more Gunpla stuff in June. So in June, we'll be doing a lot more Gunpla. We'll be building the stuff that I bought in New York. So we'll be building the MG, SD, MG, whatever order you want to put it in. Freedom, which I'm very hyped about. And we'll also build the Akane Bishoujo figure. So we'll be doing more Gunpla soon. But until then and in between then, we're going to be doing a lot more Nikkei. So if you guys have been playing Nikkei, you can join our union and play Nikkei. I've been trying to do like most of my dailies while I've been out, and I got to read a little bit more of the story, but I haven't like fully caught up. We'll be doing just like Nikkei, like random stuff, like maybe do some character stories and also do main story quest stuff too. Until the next event, which I'm pretty hyped for because my girl Aleg is gonna be in there. It's like the gamer girl event, so I'm pretty hyped, you know, as a bona fide gamer girl myself, you know. Pretty excited for the gamer girl event. Gamer girls are always cute, so pretty hype. And so we'll be doing Nikkei, we will be doing Gunpla, and we'll be doing more like Bunny Garden. Although I feel like a lot of people might be sick of Bunny Garden now. I feel like everyone and their moms are playing Bunny Garden. But we'll do some more Bunny Garden. And then I did get perms for our very first actual eroge that we're going to play on stream. An actual eroge that we are playing on stream. And then we will also do what you guys all want to see. We're gonna eventually probably play New Carnival on stream too. So that's a different kind of eroge, but we'll be doing that as well. So yeah, should be fun stuff. That's kind of what's coming up on the channel if you guys are curious. Gonna be lots of weird and silly things. Oh boy, New Carnival. Oh boy, indeed. This week's schedule is a little weird. I think on Friday we'll be playing some Vanguard with Nova on her stream. On her stream, not on my stream, on her stream. And I don't know if I'll be streaming another day this week. I may or may not. So I might stream tomorrow, but I have a lot of stuff to catch up on. So probably not tomorrow, but maybe over the weekend. But I also might be a bit busy over the weekend preparing for some stuff because I'll be gone the week after. So it's a little busy here and there. I will do my best to fit some stuff in, but I've been gone, so I'm catching up on stuff. Oh, really random, but in case anyone knows, Kokone, thank you for the raid. I'm like just wrapping up though. I'm just wrapping up. Oh god. But welcome, raiders. I hope you guys had fun playing Hades. I was actually curious, and I was doing some research on this, but like, does anybody have a Windows laptop that they actually like? And I mean that in like the genuine, like most... I hate Mac OS. Don't get me wrong. I had a MacBook for a really long time when I was first starting to work because a lot of the companies I worked in was very Mac heavy. And I can get used to Mac OS, but I really don't like flip-flopping between Mac OS and Windows OS. Also, Zelly, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. Oh god, we're getting all the raids now. Thank you for the raid. I hope you guys had a good stream. Welcome, welcome. But I'm kind of looking for a laptop that won't have shit battery life, can maybe stream OBS, like just chatting streams at the very least, and is really light. Those are like the three things I was looking for, and no matter what I researched and what I looked at, everyone was like, this computer is really good, and then you have no battery life. That was like the every result that I got for anything that fit the other stuff that worked. And then it just, everything was just like, okay, it's I guess I have to just get a MacBook. Just get a MacBook. But if you guys have any recommendations, feel free to like throw them into Discord and I will take a look. I'll take a look-see and see if there's anything okay. Waiting for the new Surface Pro. It's a tough combo, to be fair. Yeah, but it is something. It's a combo that's like important to me, especially the light part. See, the light part is important because I'm fucking old. I'm like decrepit, so I can't hold a bag that has a heavy laptop in it because my shoulders just get like fucking busted if I do that. Get slime, thank you, welcome, raiders. And my old decrepit shoulders and back just cannot handle a heavy bag. So usually, like for example, when I did have the MacBook, I was using a MacBook Air, and so it was really light. How short is too short for battery life? I just want something that won't die on me instantly. And I feel like every laptop that I've owned, a Windows laptop that I've owned, always has battery life problems, or just like it just can't retain a battery life. I have a MacBook Air from 2015, and unironically, it has better life than my Windows laptop from 2020. Which is unusable now, by the way. My Windows laptop currently is basically unusable. And the MacBook Air is still usable, which is insane to me. And makes me think that I should just get a MacBook, even though I don't like Mac OS. Depends on heavy gaming. No, I don't need it for gaming. I need it for work. And then a bonus would be if it could run OBS just minimally, so I could at least do just chatting streams while I'm like traveling. I think for work, I will be traveling a lot more in the next year, this year and also in the next year. So I'd like to find something like, it doesn't have to be like something that I can, you know, stream games on, but just like be able to run OBS would be nice. But I think you can run OBS on Mac OS, so it's fine. So no need to get dedicated GPU, yeah. But yeah, if you guys have recommendations, please throw them into Discord and then I'll just take a look. I'm like one of those people, I'm like so fucking neurotic. I don't know if you guys are like this too, but like I'm very neurotic when I'm buying something. Like for example, I bought a steamer not that long ago. I will just spend like 20 hours sitting there reading every single review. I will read every single review and look at like 50 different products to try to like get what, like, you know, what it is that like the best one. Same. Okay, I'm glad it's not just me. But sometimes I do that and then I get burned out from looking at too many products and then I end up not buying anything, which is actually worse. What's the budget? Okay, see, the thing is, I obviously have a budget, but I am open to whatever budget, only because if there is something that exceeds my budget that is the perfect fit, I am willing to compromise. Obviously, if the budget is like, MacBooks are expensive, but if it's gonna be like way more than a MacBook, at that point, like, it kind of makes me feel like I should just get the MacBook. But I don't know. Question mark, right? So it does depend. Like I said, I'm not looking for it to do a lot. It doesn't need to be a gaming PC. It just needs to be able to run OBS. It needs to be able to just let me work on it fine, and I want it to be light and have good battery life. I think the light and good battery life, ironically, is so freaking hard to get both of those, which is why I've kind of been leaning towards a MacBook, which, yeah, not a fan of Mac OS, but I can do it if I have to do it, right? It wouldn't be the first time. And I've flip-flopped back and forth from Mac OS and Windows before. It's just not super fun. I've been looking for laptops all year. For now, I'm sticking to MacBook that I got for free since I just use it for watching and typing. Yeah, I feel like the laptop market is pretty awful. So I am absolutely there with you. Can't you do the Windows in MacBook thing? I could, but I'd rather not. I feel like a lot of the time it's usually not very optimal either to do that. It's more of like, you do it if you have to do it, right? Like if your only computer is a Mac and you want to play Valorant or something on it, that's like the only time you would do that, right? Like I don't really want to have to do that beyond like needing to do that. That laptop market is awful. The marketing is all over the place and it can be hard to find the right laptop. Yeah, I was really looking at the Dell XPS because it hit a lot of the stuff that I was looking for. But I think the XPS also had the issue of running into low battery life pretty quickly into its life cycle, which is really frustrating because it does hit all the other notes for me. Like, it's very light. It actually has really good processing power. So it'd be pretty good for OBS as well. But yeah, I was like neck deep in the Reddit threads. Apparently it used to be a really good laptop, but it's really gone downhill over the years. When I was younger, back in my day, we all just used laptops, right? Like back then we didn't know, people didn't really use desktops, and I had this Sony laptop that I freaking loved to death. It was such a good laptop. And I like was so hellbent on like only Sony laptops from now on. And then the next Sony laptop I got was fucking ass. And then I was like, never again. And then every laptop after that was ass. And then I started working. I became like a working professional. And then that's when I got a MacBook. And then I got a PC. And then I got like a desktop PC. That was where that led me, because I was like, okay, I want to play video games. I still have my custom built laptop from 2012 and made me realize how important removable batteries are. Yeah, but like, for example, Rumi-chan was using the Razer Blade for a really long time, and she had one of those batteries that were like expanding and about to explode, and then they like had a warranty, so she was able to get another one for free, but her battery life still just barely lasts her. Series of unfortunate events, for real. But yeah, anyway, if you guys have recommendations, drop them in the Discord. I'll check them out. If you guys are able to vouch for them personally, that'd probably be even better, because like I said, I am the type of person to read like 500 reviews before I buy something, and I get a little bit lost in the weeds of that sometimes too. So yeah, I get like I start overthinking it, and I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't even buy one at all, but I have to buy one. I need to buy one for work, so I haven't owned a laptop in about 10 years now. See, that's the thing with me too. I feel like I would rather not own a laptop if I could help it, because I don't like, again, my experience with laptops have been really bad besides MacBooks. So, and I'm not, yeah. I even asked my boss, I was like, hey, what laptop do you use? And he was like, oh, you just use a MacBook. I was like, God damn it, of course you do. Tax write-off, baby. That's true. That's true. We do get the tax return for that, so. I see one bad review on a laptop. It sets me back like 3 hours of research and keeps second guessing. Yeah, me too! Oh my god. Oh my god, you get me. That's literally me. That's what happened with the Dell XPS. I was like sold on the XPS. I was like, okay, this has exactly everything I'm looking for. I'm very excited for this. And then I saw one review and it was like, the battery life is shit after like just 2 months. And I was like, no. And then I went down the fucking Reddit rabbit hole. There's a whole Dell XPS Reddit subreddit. Did you guys know that? It has a whole ass subreddit just for this one line of laptops. And then every single thread on that subreddit was doom posting about the XPS. And I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm not getting this fucking XPS. It was just like doomers, the entire subreddit. I was like, okay, never mind. I guess I don't want this one anymore. Redditors doom post about every product they own. Man. Anyway, I feel bad because we got rated a bunch while we were ending, but we do need to end, and my voice is, I don't know how to get my voice back. It's like, I feel like the only way for me to actually get my voice back is if I don't talk for a month or something. I think I just need to actually shut the fuck up. But the problem is that I'm like traveling, and then so obviously while I'm traveling, I'm talking a lot. I'm talking to whoever I'm traveling with. I'm talking to, like, you know, the store people or whatever it is. And then I come back and I'm like, oh, I haven't streamed in a long time. I should probably stream. And then I'm like, okay, I'm trying to like catch up on streams. And then I sit here for like a week streaming, and then I get travel again. Just can't catch a fucking break. TTS Zero Arc upcoming. Man, I don't know how the girls do TTS because I can't shut the fuck up, honestly. I'd literally have to mute myself. Like, you wouldn't be able to, you know how you hear like echoes, like cute giggles, or Amoria's like slamming her fist on the table? You wouldn't hear anything because honestly, if I were to do TTS, I would have to mute myself. Otherwise, I would just give up and start talking. I'm too impatient for TTS. I have not even an ounce of patience within me. I cannot stand in a line for anything. Lines? No, thank you. I am not a line enjoyer. You're traveling at the end of this month. I am. Next week, I will be out of town for another week. Visiting some people who are coming in from out of town as well. And then I think I'm scot-free for June. And then I'll be gone for a little while in July. And then I'll be free in August. And then I'll be gone again for a little bit in September. See, do you see why I need a laptop? Do you see why I need a laptop? I just can't catch a break. I mean, okay, to be fair, like I said, I really have been having a lot of fun on all of my trips, and I've been really enjoying it. And I've been enjoying my work, and I've been enjoying everything about like all these fun things that I've been doing. But I am an introvert at the end of the day, and my social meter is just completely depleted, and I need to just like be in a room without anyone talking to me. I need to be in a room where nobody talks to me for like a month or something. Like, I just need to like decompress. I need to recharge and like not do anything. But obviously streaming is a little bit easier for me in terms of my social battery. Like, streaming doesn't take my social battery. Streaming does take my mental, not battery, but my mental whatever. So The only thing about streaming is that sometimes my brain is too fried. I can't like talk properly, as you guys have noticed. Every time I come back from a trip, I'll be like saying something and I'll like just like my train of thought will just leave the fucking station. But I just need to like not exist for a little bit. I need to not exist. My friend was like, oh, like you want to hang out? I was like, no, I'm sorry, I can't hang out. I need to just not do anything for a little bit. I don't know what I need to do, but maybe I just am gonna play a bunch of Nike or something. I don't know. But yeah, anyway. There it is. My brain is short-circuiting again. If you guys have laptop recommendations again, please, I would appreciate if you could throw some links into the Discord. I know there were some issues, by the way, with the Discord membership stuff that should be fixed as of literally right before the stream. So if you weren't able to access the member Discord, try to check again. If it's not working, try to refresh and take a look, and hopefully that should be fixed and working now. And and if you are waiting on your simp cards, I'm so sorry. It's been a bit of a I've been out of town, so I'm gonna catch up to that sometime this week or weekend. So it's gonna take me a moment. You're gonna have to give me a moment, but I will take a look and I will check in on that. A laptop recs that aren't MacBooks, correct, but I also would appreciate if you're like, you're not gonna find that, Leora, just get a MacBook. If that is your opinion, I would also appreciate if you could relay that opinion, to also justify if that is the end that I have to face, the reality that I have to face, you know. I'm gonna wait for his file. SIM cards, we have those. Yes, so feel free to check the community tab if you want more information. We also talked about it a bit on our anniversary stream, but basically it's something a little extra for the whale crews. So if you're not a whale crew or if you don't ever plan on being one, you don't have to really you don't have to like concern yourself with it, I guess I should say. But it is a whale curry thing where you can receive some extra goodies from the Symphoria girls. And we should have our like next stamp thing soon, in a couple weeks. So keep your eyes peeled if you are a whale curry. I'm gonna go lay down. Maybe unpack a little bit because I still have stuff for my Japan trip too. And I'm gonna go decompress a bit, maybe play some Nikkei and whatnot. And I keep saying but my brain is short-circuiting. Okay, Leo too, thank you guys so much for all the support today. Thank you for hanging out. And thank you for the warm welcome. I'm sorry it was like a really random stream and sorry that I didn't like give you guys prior notice, but that's just what it's gonna be like for the rest of this week, and I do apologize for that. But my brain just needs a little bit of time to reset before I can get into a normal schedule. We should have a normal schedule next week, normal-ish, before I go on another break. Yes. So that is how it's gonna be. Leotsu, and I'll see you guys very soon. Thank you so much. Bye bye. If I could find my ending screen, there it is. Bye.